Hi everyone, I just wanted to record a video to give you a few tips on how to move forward with your final project. So from the discussions, I noticed that some of you still asked for additional guidance on how to organize your files. So I downloaded a student project that was submitted, and it is here on my desktop. I saved it here. And if I open it, this is opened on my desktop now directly, not in Dreamweaver. So you see that here there's the elements I asked for your final first draft. So there's a document with some text, although this should have been in text format. It's a, if you look at the type, this is a Microsoft Word document. All you need to do is basically open this, save it as, and choose text format, and then save it back here in this folder. The template has been created, although there's no separate folder. I'm fine with that. If you are able to recognize that it's a template and that suffix DWT indicates that it's a template. The student had created the homepage index.html. There's some images in here, which I asked for. And then there's a CSS folder with the styling sheet. I cannot open it here because it's not formatted for my desktop, and that's okay. If you try to see all of your files right from the desktop, that may not be possible because certain types of files are formatted just for Dreamweaver, right? Okay, so my files are here. This is the folder. Again, make sure you always have that one folder on your desktop or whatever else you choose to save it on your computer. But that folder also has to include all of the files to be used on your website. Okay, don't, when you save inside Dreamweaver, just make sure you save everything in the root folder, so it is eventually saved in the final folder of your project. Okay, so here you were asked to create a site, right? A work site, and then that would be your create a new site. And then when you do that, I'm gonna just show you the example. Let's say final project 2. This site, it'll ask you, hey, where's your root folder? What can I map this work site in Dreamweaver to? And you should choose your final project folder. Once you've mapped this work site to your final project folder, then it shouldn't be an issue. And you see here, I'm on desktop, and this is the folder, and here too is desktop, and then this is the folder. You select it and it brings it in, and you save it, and that will connect the Dreamweaver site, work site, to your root folder. I'm going to cancel this one out because I already have my final project in here. As you see, you can create various work sites. For project 1 bistro, I connected the bistro documentation folder. For the chapter folder, and so on. So I don't have to go through each one again. And here you can also jump if you have several ones, for example, your project, you can jump through. If you want to look at specific things, you can see how you can jump through them, through the projects, and see different files, open different files, okay? I'm going to close all of these just so you see. Okay, so I'm going to go and I say, I want to go back to my final project. Oh, here it is in Dreamweaver. So I'm now in Dreamweaver, right? My images are here. My index HTML is here. My main template is here. My document is here. Okay, so you see that I have everything here. Now, I am going to open my main template because based on this, all of my other pages will look like. So I'm planning my website design starting with this template. Once I finished working on my template, I can apply it to all of my other pages. And for now, I only have index.html, which is empty, which is fine. I have to work on my template now. So let me just point out, I think it was the chapter that had, no, it didn't have a template. It was maybe the museum. Yes, the museum had a template, okay? So there's a template folder, and then there's a template here that you created. Okay, so if you look at the template elements, just comparing it, I'm gonna close this one. I'm gonna keep my project, final project, and this template up so we can compare. Just look and analyze a few things, right? So template has the header that it's the information, basic information of the page, and then you notice that your styling sheet, it's linked to the page here, okay, in the head of the page. So notice this because this is an important element, okay? When I go back to my main template, the student hadn't finished it yet. So I still have a style sheet, but I have nothing in it, okay? So I will have to create my styling. So here I am going to add content to define how I want my content, my website to look like every page, right? So I'm talking about when I'm referring to styling, I'm talking about the layout, the color, the background, the text for formatting, the all of the design elements, right? So that, and then once I define all these elements in here, of course that I'm going to have to tie it to the page, to the template page, right? And then so just to make a point, that would go here, right? In this head, the head of the paper would be a link to the CSS file once everything is done, okay? But for now, let's just see, what do we have here? I've asked you to create a body, a header, the navigation bar, and the footer. And the template also has another element, which is the editable region. Okay, in this case, the editable region should not be floating below the footer, but let me just address that in a few moments here. So when I look at the head of the paper, let's say I want to title this document just for identification, right? So I can say it, I can say Mizoni works. You can even copy it. And then Black Hills, South Dakota. Or you can put also, like, you can put the full name if you want. This looks like it's going to be a handyman services website, right? Okay, so I have that. So this is the what does the title tag does? It's controls two important things in every web page, right? It sets the name that appears in the browser tab, so that, and then two, it is used by search engines. Okay, so they search engine read the title to understand what the page is about, how to categorize it, and what text to show as the clickable blue link in the usual search results. All right, so that a good title will improve the search visibility and professionalism, and it'll help people find you on search. Okay, I would not leave it untitled because it just looks unprofessional, and then search engines can identify it. Okay, so you can put this, and then on each, or you can just leave it in the template, um, generic, or you can customize it for each page. On each child page you can customize it to where on the index HTML will say, let's say home, Mazzoni Works home, because that, sorry, that the index HTML page, it's your home page, right? So if you want, on a search, if you want the search engine to identify your home page, then you can absolutely customize this title. All right, so I hope that makes sense. And remember, you have that asterisk, and you want to make sure that you save all, I meant. And then now it's showing me the asterisk is no longer there. The changes have been saved. All right, I have this now here. I'm done with the head for now. Later, when I complete the style CSS file, determining how I want my pages to look like, then I will link it here. But for now, let's look at the other elements of this page, right? So I have a body, and in the body, there's a header, there's a nav bar, okay, and then there's the footer. And what do I want to do? I want to just create a little bit more structure, right? So what I can do here, I can say, okay, the header here, I can add, let's say, an H1 tag. That's the type of, remember from the chapter, right? Chapter project, you have various tags that will determine how your text looks like, right? And then remember that every tag has a open tag, has a pairing tag, has to have a pairing tag. So remember, notice that here I put an H1, and I get highlighted, my code line is highlighted in red, and that means that when I hover over it, telling me the special characters must be escaped. That means that, oh, I need to still include the closing tag. I don't want to forget that. Okay, and so now I will have to save it. Let's see what happens. Why is it not letting me? There's something incorrect, perhaps? Yes, of course, here. So note that Dreamweaver again is very finicky, so even a little bracket here, it's a big deal. So make sure that you pay attention and